Hello. Hello everyone who's joined. Hello Meg, my name's Katie Thistleton and I am a Psychologies columnist. I've just started writing a new monthly column for the wonderful Psychologies magazine, who I love so much, and I am writing it about all of the biggest issues of my 20s. Now that I'm 31, I'm looking back and thinking about what are the big things in your 20s that can be really difficult. And this month my column is all about body image and relationship with food and eating. So I'm going to be chatting about that today, and I'm going to be joined by the wonderful Megan Goldberger, who I am going to invite in now, if I can do that. Meg, if you could just send a little invite to join. If you can see a little thing where it says invite to join, if you could do that, then that would be great, because I have no other means of getting you on. I don't know how it works otherwise. So basically, yeah, I'm writing this series. Last month I did a article all about social media and comparison, and how we compare ourselves to other people, not just on social media but generally in life, and that's available to read now on the Psychologies website. And I'm going to talk about all manner of different issues. There's no invite. I'm going to talk about all manner of different issues over the next few months. I'm going to talk about career, I'm going to talk about healthy relationships, all from the perspective of what I was going through in my 20s. Let me see if I can just invite you, Meggie. Do I press that little person? Go live with. There we go. Go live with, and then... Oh, Meg, it says you need to upgrade your app in order to join. That's an absolute disaster. Meg, you need to update your app. That is terrible. Oh no, I'm very sorry, guys. I think Megan might not be able to join the chat today, which is very unfortunate. But it's fine. I will just talk to you a little bit about what my article is all about. So I'm a Radio 1 presenter. I do a show every Sunday on Radio 1 called Life Hacks. And it's all about life, and we do it for students, of course, because our Radio 1 audience is generally quite young, sort of teens, 20s, 30s. So we talk about all manner of things. I co-present it with Vic Hope, who is a wonderful human being, and we talk about loads of different stuff. We talk about relationships, we talk about body image, we talk about race, we talk about just anything that is going on in the world from a young person's perspective. And also for the past few years, I've been presenting an accompanying podcast with my good friend Dr. Rada, all about those different issues too. So the wonderful Susie at Psychologies magazine, the editor there, met me at an event where I was talking about mental health and asked me to start writing a series, and that is what I've been doing. So as I said, last month was all about social media and how to stop comparing yourself to other people, and this month is all about body image and how we can have a healthy relationship with food. Looks like I might be here. That was some fast app updating. If she is, I'm very impressed. Here she comes! Way!
What a disaster! I planned everything, and
It's okay.
no, it let me down. But here I am.
I'm so used to these things being a disaster now. The first one of these I did in lockdown was for Radio 1. Went live on Radio 1's Instagram. So many people watching, hundreds of people watching, you know, which doesn't often happen on these. And I had no signal, and it was just crashing out, and people were commenting like, "I can't hear you properly." Oh, it was a disaster.
What a miss!
So much, honestly. But welcome, Megan Goldberger, or Meggie G.
Meggie G, that's me. It's amazing to see your face.
It's so lovely to see your face, and I really wanted to welcome you to join me on this today, because on these Instagram lives I want to chat to somebody. I don't want to just talk at everyone by myself, because that's a bit boring on Instagram live. I want to chat to someone about that particular issue, and I thought of you for this one because we met recently when you were on my podcast, on the Life Hacks podcast, talking all about your relationship with your skin. And that's because you were on a BBC Three show that you can still watch on iPlayer called Skin, talking about your experience with having quite severe eczema. So first of all, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, Skin was filmed over a year ago now. It started last September, and they were reaching out to people who had different skin conditions. I was one of many young adults who went to the clinic, and I was one of the psoriasis patients because that was my issue. I had it since I was 9, and I was...
Sorry, I said eczema, didn't I? I knew it was
psoriasis. It's okay, they always get mixed up. It's fine. I was looking for answers, and thankfully got chosen to go and meet with Dr. Tim Clayton in Harley Street in London, and got treated, and it was all recorded. It was a crazy experience. I look back now, because obviously it was filmed over a year ago, and because of Corona, it was delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, and it came out and everything kicked off, and here we are now.
Amazing. Someone's just said it's Eczema Awareness Month, FYI. Thank you, Chets. And yeah, there's so many different skin issues on that program, aren't there? You know, acne, eczema,
it was
vitiligo.
incredible to be a part of, to be honest, because I felt like I got to meet new people. Like you see on the show, I meet a boy called Casey with psoriasis, who at the time I never met anyone outside of my family who sort of had psoriasis, especially a man. I'd never met a man with psoriasis, so it was all a bit mental, but it was an incredible opportunity, and I was glad to take it.
And tell us again about what the answer was. I mean, I know there's no sort of answer, and that, you know, different things work for different people.
Yeah.
But your psoriasis is really good at the moment, isn't it?
It's gone. It's been gone since the end of January, beginning of February, and it still hasn't come back. And after 13 years of battling it, I went gluten-free for 2 weeks and took some fruit, veg, and berry capsules from a very well-known MLM scheme, and it's gone. It just hasn't come back.
But you've not actually continued the gluten-free diet, have you?
No, nor have I continued taking the veg.
Wow, it's just incredible. Like, it's so strange, and perhaps that wouldn't work for somebody else. Who knows?
No,
but
I think I just got lucky, to be honest.
Maybe it's lockdown. Maybe your skin just really likes coronavirus.
Yeah, maybe it was just like, do you know what? We're not going to bother coming back this year. 2020's been enough for you, hun, so we're going to leave.
That's a good point. Maybe your skin was like, do you know what? You don't need me right now playing up. There's enough going on, isn't there?
Let's hope it doesn't come back at all, though. Let's just keep it away.
I am praying for you, because I know that it's been really, really hard for you, and skin conditions are really, really hard, and that's obviously something that the BBC Three programme goes into, and that's something we talked about on my podcast. And it can really, really affect your mental health, can't it, in many ways. As can anything with your body, as can your weight, as can anything that you don't like about the way that you look. And so, yeah, that's why I wanted to chat to you today, because I know that you are an amazing body confidence advocate. You are a curve model. You model. I know that you do pageants. So tell us a little bit about your journey with your body and how you've ended up being this person online who is all about embracing your body and being confident.
Well, I think with all journeys, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. First of all, I never always loved my body. It's a journey, like most things. It's been an incredible journey, but a long one nonetheless. And I started it around age 15, and I've always been the biggest of my friends. You know, in school, I didn't think there was any boys that fancied me because of my size. And I always just let it hold me back, because I wasn't the people I was seeing in the magazines, and I didn't look like the girls on Instagram at the time. And it really affected me and got me down until I fell into the world of pageants. Now, I promise you, you either look for the pageant world or you fall into it, and I fell into it. It found me. And from that, I just grew in confidence and within myself, and pageants have been a massive platform to help me to where I am today. And through that, I sort of was just fed up. I was like, you know what? I don't want to hate myself anymore. I don't want to dislike my body. I want to be comfortable in it. I want to be happy in it, and I want to be confident in it. So that is a little promise I made to myself. And through that, then I've become this plus size model, pageant girl, body confidence advocate, and just all round, you know, female empowerment coach. I just want to help people love themselves no matter what, because it's got to be tiring waking up every day and hating yourself, because I did for 15 years. And I'm 22 now, turning 23 next week. And I'm finally in a place where I'm just 100% happy with my body, no matter what it looks like.
That's amazing. I mean, do you ever have days where you get a wobble though, and you change your mind about that, and you think, oh, actually, no, I would like to be slimmer. I would like this bit of me to look differently. Or are you consistently, you know, very body confident?
I think over the years, I've had those days less and less, which just shows how much I've grown. I used to have them quite often and would be like, on the latest diet or different slimming plans and what I refer to as fat clubs, which are the weight loss groups that you go to weekly. And just, I used to have such a battle, and you can't win either way, no matter what you look like. I know there's girls that are slimmer than me, much slimmer than me, size 6 and 8, and they dislike things about their body. I think it's really sad though, as women, we are programmed to dislike our bodies for whatever reason. Like, nothing we see is real, and nothing that was presented to us when we were growing up was real. I feel jealous of the generation that's growing up now, because at least they see every type of body. There's a much more diverse range for them to look at, but that wasn't there for us. So we've had to rewire our brains to accept ourselves, which is an absolute crazy thing that we've had to do. But I definitely don't get those days as much anymore. I look to improve my body sort of in different ways. I never focus on you must lose weight to feel happier, because I know for a fact that losing weight might not make me happier than I am now. I'm the biggest I've been at the moment, thank you very much lockdown, but I'm also the happiest I've been at the moment. So really, weight and happiness does not go hand in hand. And I think that's what people need to learn and understand, because now I wake up every day and I'm thankful for what my body can do rather than what it looks like. And that's the first step to sort of falling in love with yourself.
I think that's all absolutely amazing. And I think what you're saying about, you know, almost being exhausted by waking up every day and hating yourself, it is exhausting, isn't it? And the constant hamster wheel of dieting is so draining. And I remember when I worked at CBBC, one of the makeup artists there, who I'm really good friends with, and both of us were kind of, you know, a few stone heavier than we used to be. We used to be quite slim, and it plagued our every day, because we were just constantly like, we want to lose weight. And I'd walk in, and the first thing she'd sort of say to me is, how's the diet going? And we'd sit there and we'd talk about it constantly. And one day I just went in and I said to her, I'm so sick of us feeling like this is what we've got to talk about every day. It's so boring. And
Exactly.
And clearly none of the fad diets, I mean, she did some crazy ones, you know, she did all the butter and coffee madness. I just basically didn't even try. But I think the fact that we were still feeling like, no, Monday we'll do it, tomorrow we'll do it, we'll start in January, I got so sick of it, and I get so bored of it just being a conversation that women have to have all the time. When you get together with your girl mates, you get together with your family, it's got to be about your weight and your diet. It's so boring, isn't it? How much energy do we waste? I mean, in my column for Psychologies this month, I said I often think about what my brain might have been able to achieve if it didn't think so much about my body and my hair.
Exactly. How much our lives would change if we put all of our energy that we use to think negatively about ourselves, if we put that energy into thinking positively about ourselves, the diet industry would crumble. Because at the end of the day, society has been built around this idea that women constantly need to look a certain way and improve themselves, because it's marketing and it's a great way to make money for these big companies. So I, like you and your makeup artist friend, I've been on every single diet known to man. I've done cabbage soup. I did a banana diet. I was like 16, 17 doing all of these. I feel like going back in time, if I could go back in time, I would slap myself and be like, what are you doing? Just go, be happy, and just fall in love with yourself. And that is the message. And you're right, it is totally exhausting. And funnily enough, today I was listening to Radio 1's Life Hacks podcast with the body positivity episode with, I can't say her name for the life of me, I think it's Chess or something like that. And she it was a while ago, and I know Love Island was on because you mentioned it at the time, but it was she was doing a bikini competition and had to go down to 8% body fat.
It was Chessie King. Yes,
and they even said then she's got too much fat for her weight category, and it was like, you can't win no matter what. So I think you just have to, as a person, completely rewire yourself to think of yourself in this positive light, because that's what I've done, and I am a million times more happier now. And my advocacy is to help as many women across the world as possible do the same, is to just fall in love with themselves. And it has to start with you. It has to start with your brain going, I'm really thankful, instead of I hate the way this looks. I think Chess said on the podcast, she said, don't speak to yourself. Don't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to your best friend. I would never turn around to my best friend and say, you look so fat today. So why should I be saying that to myself? It's just putting myself in a really negative headspace, and that's not what we need.
No, you're totally right. And everything you're saying about the diets speaks to me so much now. I used to just think, I'm just not very good at this. I'm greedy. I can't do these diets. Why can't I do them? And now I'm like, of course I can't bloody do them. Like, they're not sustainable. None of these things are. And like you say, it's an industry. And the journey that I've been on this year, which I talk about in my column this month for Psychologies magazine, is I put on 3 stone, maybe a little bit more, over the past few years.
Yeah.
And, you know, classically, of course, that comes with not fitting in any of your clothes, being on TV. That comes with people asking me if I'm pregnant. Katie Thistleton weight gain was a Google search at one point.
No.
Yeah. You know, sort of even maybe family members saying to me, oh, you've put a bit of weight on, worried about your health. And it does come sometimes with health conditions. You know, the nurse told me my blood pressure's high and I could do with losing some weight. And it's something I have really been quite miserable about for a few years now. And this year, and I've tried all these different diets, you know, some of the fat clubs that you're referring to, and all these different things, and you know, having a personal trainer, and it just doesn't work for me. Anytime you say to me, you can't do this, you've got to follow this strict plan, I clam up and I go, no,
you
I can't.
Spiral. Your brain goes, oh no. So you have that one last cheat meal before you go on your diet on Monday, or you then overindulge, and it is a massively vicious cycle. And we haven't obviously discussed this prior to this live, but I was then later diagnosed with a binge eating disorder because I couldn't control the amount I was eating when in stressful situations or going through a stressful scenario in my life. I didn't purge, but the eating disorders fall on a scale. There's the side of anorexia and the side of bulimia, and I fell on the bulimic side because I'd binge, but I'd never make myself sick. But during that time, I panicked, and there's so many different reasons for people to be the shape and size that they are. And like you said, family members mention it. Unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, my dad pulled me aside and was like, I'm worried about your health, and didn't word it in the correct way, which then spun me in the other direction. And I was like, fine, if that's what you think about me, I'm not going to eat. And I know it came from a place of love and care, but what was said invalidated my existence as a bigger person on this earth. And he literally just said, well, just eat less and move more. And I was like, do you know how easy it would be if it was that simple? And first of all, it isn't. That's just not it. And second of all, I've gone through some things in my life psychologically which make things harder. For example, there was a study on Harvard University about people who lost weight, lost all the weight, and then 9 out of the 10 people put the weight back on. And they were like, what do all these 9 people have in common? And it turns out that they were previously sexually assaulted. So some people find fat and, you know, being physically heavy and physically bigger a physical protection between them and an attacker. And I mean, I resonate with that completely. Something happened when I was extremely young. And I've carried that through with me. But it's not until someone sits you down and explains, do you know what, there's more to this than you just liking food? Yeah. Like, there's more to
Meg, I feel like we are just kindred spirits, because everything you're saying is kind of something that I've written in this article. And I kind of wrote at the end that, you know, don't let any fitness influencer say to you, it's calories in, calories out. It's as simple as that. And we know the science. We all know the science. We're not idiots. And even if you didn't know, you could do a quick Google search and find out the science behind losing weight. We all know it. But eating is emotional. And, you know, we don't just eat for fuel. We're not robots. We have emotional connections to our diets. And like you say, for many different reasons, whatever those reasons might be. And I'm the same. I went to see my doctor this year and was told that it sounded like I had binge eating disorder. And I do think that diet culture didn't help with that. Because like you say, you do one last binge before you start again tomorrow. And then you do one last binge before you start again tomorrow. And actually it teaches you that it's fun to eat in excess. And it's not fun to eat small portions, and completely messes up the way you feel about food, because you're always just going to have that binge mentality then. Yeah. So this year, and this is what the article is about, instead of going to a slimming club or paying for another fitness app like I've done so many times, another influencers app, I went to see a counsellor and I started having weekly therapy. I mean, I say I went to see, I had it online because COVID. And it's the best thing I've ever done for my relationship with eating and my relationship with my body, because it is psychological. It's never just about the food.
Exactly. 1000%. I swear to you, Katie Thistleton, we are soul sisters. I started therapy in September last year, and I recently finished in May, just before I moved home from university, because I was like, there's something not right up here that is tricking everything else into other things. And I personally couldn't stand it anymore. I've had previous counselling with different counsellors, and it wasn't until I physically started paying to see a therapist that I took it in more. I took it more seriously. And my amazing therapist, Kate, I love her to death. She literally, we started off with a timeline of events throughout my life. Where did you think they started going wrong? So all the way back in 2008 we started, and I had to sit there. She was a creative gal and I'm a creative gal, so we worked well together. And I drew out and listed all the things that happened in certain years and on this big piece of paper. And then I looked at it and I thought, wow, no wonder I've ended up in therapy, because I've been through all of this, and no wonder I turned to certain things for comfort. Yeah. Food being one of the main ones. When I was in my mum, bless her heart, she'd been married 3 times, and the second marriage, the man wasn't nice, and he would restrict my food as a child from ages, we're talking 3 to 9. Wow. So quite a pinnacle time in my life. Yeah. Which then she used to sneak food to me in my bedroom, and it became a form of rebellion. So food was a fun thing, and then when they were out of the house, I'd secret eat, so food was a comfort thing. And you don't realize as a kid that these are all programs in your brain. So for me, going to therapy, unpicked all those random things that I didn't know about. Yeah. Because then I was aware, oh my goodness, that's why I am the way I am. And once I unpicked all those things, I always imagine, it went on social media, there was a picture of a therapist in their chair and the person receiving the therapy. And the person receiving the therapy has a big thought bubble full of all these different colours of string. And in the therapist's bubble, it's them rolling up like balls of wool in all the different colours, and all the different colours are separated. So it's the therapist sort of unwinding everything in your head and sorting it into its respective columns, into its respective boxes and colours. And I just resonate so hard with that, because without therapy, I wouldn't be able to understand myself. And as you said, it's the best money I've ever spent.
Yeah, and I think if everyone spent the money that they, you know, counselling is expensive to pay for, and not everyone has the privilege of affording it. But if a lot of people spent the money that they spend on shake plans or fat clubs, or you know, not mention any brands, slim clubs, fitness apps, on all this kind of stuff, on some therapy, then they probably learned that their relationship with food was because of something psychological, and therefore they'd be able to get to a place where they felt good about their body and they felt good about how they ate. And we just had Claire comment actually to say that she relates to this. Thank you. And she has suffered with eating disorders. I'm sorry to hear that, Claire. And it's interesting. I've spent time, I made a documentary series for the BBC, and I spent time in an anorexia clinic with some teenage girls. And what was fascinating for me is, at the time I hadn't been diagnosed with binge eating disorder. I knew that I had put on 3 stone, and I was having these binges and I knew that it wasn't right. I was secret eating, like you say. I was in my car, or I spent a lot of time in hotels working away, so I would do it then. So people didn't really know how embarrassing, you know, the embarrassing amounts of food I was eating. And I met these girls, and what they were saying to me about why they restricted in the ways that they did were the same reasons I binged. And I remember sitting there thinking, literally, we've got the same thought processes, the same things that we're unhappy about, the same issues with control, and you are dealing with that by, you know, not eating, and I'm dealing with that by eating. And I just found it fascinating. And I think there's a lot of disordered eating out there that's undiagnosed, and I know lots of eating disorder activists who fight to change that, because there's, you know, just because you're not underweight or overweight doesn't mean you've got an unhealthy relationship with food. And I think, there's a lot of it out there. And I think if we try and break down this diet industry, which is impossible because it's a very powerful,
it's a big one.
If we put more focus on people looking after their emotional well-being and less on them going on these fad diets, then people would be in a lot better place with it.
Well, that's 100% true. I mean, it wasn't until housemate a couple of years ago, who's one of my best friends, I sat down with her and I was having a really open and honest conversation about food. And she looked at me and she was like, that's not normal. Like, what you went through wasn't normal. And I think you should reach out to someone if you feel like you need to, which is when I found out I had an eating disorder. And I feel it's weird because it wasn't until the other day when I was thinking, oh, when was the last time I binged? And it's been months and months and months, because I'm in a completely different situation to when I was struggling in uni and stressing out. And now I'm able to say, you know, I haven't binged in ages, but it's always sort of there. And I've been through a course of therapy, so I know how to recognize things. I know how to control things now, and I can pull myself out of panic attacks way quicker than I was able to before, because I invested in myself. But it took something in me to go for looking for that help, because I never realized it was a bad thing.
Yeah, of course. Claire's just put, my therapist helped me to see that purging was a way of splurging my emotions because of not having a voice about my abuse. And once I knew that, it made so much sense and allowed me to start healing. I think that's what it is with therapy, isn't it? It's realizing what effect everything in the world has had on you and what that makes you then behave like. And once you know that, you've kind of got the power to think, oh, I know why I'm about to do that. And same as you, I don't crave a certain food. I don't think, oh, do you know what? I'd quite like a bar of chocolate. I want a family-sized bag, or I crave excess. I've realised there's something about excessiveness to me that helps me deal with emotions, with having a hard day or with stress or with anxiety. And it's kind of identifying that, isn't it? And we're coming up to the end, Meg, but this has been so nice.
Oh, it's been lovely to see your face.
The first 5 minutes of this of me just sort of waffling on, waiting to get you on.
Sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault.
But
they're always so awkward, these things, because you spend the first 5 minutes going, so I'm Katie, and then in a minute I'm going to be talking about this, but I'm not going to talk about it yet because I'm going to wait for more people to join and for my guest.
Well, I'm Meg G, and I actually have very, very recently spoken about this on, I'm sure you'll know, my podcast is called What's the Tea, Maggie G, and is available on Spotify and all the good things, and Apple and all them. And it's the episode called Fat Club Friends, when I speak with a good friend of mine about diet culture and how we plan to tear it down. So that is available. But it's such a relevant topic, and you know what, it's not spoken enough because we've just been brought up to accept it. So thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to have me here today and talk about all this good stuff and see your face.
Oh.
And I hope, you know, we've had a very open and honest conversation, and I hope it's helped at least a couple of people today realise that this is totally normal and that diet culture needs to be abolished.
I totally agree with you. And I think people are stuck in this place of feeling like they're overweight, and therefore that means they're greedy, and then also seeing the body positivity movement and thinking, oh, I should embrace myself, but actually I'm really unhappy with myself, and torn between what do I do, and not realizing that, you know, that therapy maybe would help them more than constantly punishing themselves with these diets and
I
things.
could talk about this for hours with you, honestly, because I just feel so angered and passionate about it all. But for all those years, I'm thankful that I am 22, very nearly 23, and I've learned this and been able to reverse my thinking now.
You've learned very young. I've only just learned this, and I'm 10 years older than you, and there'll be people 10 years older than me who...
I know. I was going to say, my mum, for example, she's just had her 50th birthday, and she's obviously taken a lot of my advice and information. When I hear her talking negatively about herself, I'm like, don't do that, hun. And it is all just a massive journey, so I'm thankful to have come across it so early on in my life. But I am more than happy to help literally anyone and everyone get to this point, because I just feel so passionate about it. And I just want to end on saying that one of my favorite quotes, which was by myself, but so much power comes from loving yourself, no matter the situation, no matter what you look like, today, tomorrow, the next day, and them days after that. Just know that you are 100% worthy, and it doesn't matter how much space you take up, you are worth everything in this world. So yeah, that's what I want.
Well, that is a wonderful note to end on. And yeah, you can obviously, everyone can see your Instagram, to follow you there and check out your podcast, which I'm definitely need to listen to as well.
You'll have to come on it.
I would love to come on it.
You don't have to agree, but I would love you to.
Of course I will.
We will have to sort something, because it's a new little baby. It's only been going for 6 weeks, but bit of a lockdown project, but something that's been on my mind for when I actually looked back. I came up with it 436 days before I posted the first episode. So
oh my goodness,
it is a little baby, and I would adore to have you on. We could talk for hours.
we will, I'm sure. We'll definitely do that. And for everyone watching this as well, my Psychologies column, I'm not sure if it's up on the website yet, but it'll be up ASAP. You can read last month's about comparison in social media, but my story about my relationship with food and body image is going to be up on the Psychologies website very soon. Thank you so much to everyone who's watched this and stayed with us. Mwah. Bye, Meg. Bye, everyone. Bye. 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 Bye.